Hey guys, this is Thomas from NurseMoneyTalk. And at this point in the year, I know most of you have probably already taken the NCLEX. And now, as we get later in the year, what I've found, especially when I first took mine, was that the ones who are generally like still haven't taken it at this point tend to be the ones who, I don't know if you want to say they have a lot of anxiety, or they're just afraid to take the NCLEX. And so what I want to do is talk about just this fear of taking the NCLEX, and in a way try to hopefully give you some actionable tips, if you will, that will help you deal with that extreme fear or that extreme anxiety of taking boards. Before I get started with that though, let me go ahead and invite you to hit that subscribe button, and then don't forget to hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of my upcoming videos. Let's go ahead and get started with this, because the first thing I think you should do if you are afraid of like just this fear of taking boards is to try to figure out why you're actually afraid. Like, where is that fear coming from? And so what I mean by that is that, like, people have fears for a lot of different things. It can manifest itself in similar ways, if you will, but the root underlying cause of that fear at times can be totally different. And so I think once you understand what that root cause is, I think then that makes it easier to start trying to figure out ways you can overcome that. Because now it's no longer just trying to put a Band-Aid over it. Now it's like actually trying to deal with the exact root cause. And so, for instance, like, just to pick an example. So if your fear is based off of just, I don't know, just like not being prepared, like you just have this overwhelming feeling of I haven't studied enough and I'm just not prepared for that, then I think there are directions you can take to try to alleviate that, because maybe you legitimately aren't actually prepared for it, and you haven't done the necessary, studying or work ahead of time. Maybe it's, your fear is it's just specifically just focused on I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail. And I feel like when I say, like, it almost seems like they're, like those two in particular, they're the same, but in a lot of ways they're actually kind of different. And I think how you would approach it is going to be different depending on the person. And so what I found, so just kind of like in my own situation, is that when I start seeing myself just kind of start spiraling into all these negative thoughts and whatnot, I try to kind of think of what is the worst case scenario. And so, like, what is the worst case scenario? So, like, if I was looking at the NCLEX, the worst case scenario was, well, maybe I don't pass boards and then I have to retake it. And then it's like, well, if I don't take it, then I'll never get a chance to pass boards. So that is just to kind of give you an example with that. The next thing I would say is, and this is gonna seem pretty cliche in a lot of ways, but I think is to try to stay positive, or at least try to work on your mental state. I think a lot of battles are won like up here, or a lot of battles are lost up here before you even get into battle, if you will. And so I think if you have a lot of these self-defeating thoughts and whatnot, I think you run a risk of an almost kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you'll never really quite give yourself an opportunity to have the best shot of actually being successful. And so one of the ways I found to kind of handle this or to try to stay positive is to see about talking to either maybe a friend, a spouse, a family member, parent, or another, trusted individual, somebody who is going to, honestly kind of maybe almost kind of like give you a pep talk, like you don't want to talk to somebody who is going to be, going to be like a Debbie Downer or something like that. No, you want somebody who's going to be maybe even like overly cheerful. Like they're just going to keep trying to cheer you on and help you be successful. One thing I will mention about this though is to be careful if you are the type of person who tries to talk a lot about kind of like what your emotions are to family, significant others, friends, or whatever, because you don't want to run a risk of in a way kind of burning people out, where people just get so burned out being around you. I don't think that's really probably gonna matter as much in something that's such a short time frame as like, preparing for boards. But I do think it's also something worth mentioning out. And so if you get to before I even get to my next point, is that if you also run into a situation where like you don't have anybody who you feel you can talk to, I think it might be in a situation where to maybe seek out some like professional help. So for instance, you can go to nursemoneytalk.com/online therapy. And so you can find like a licensed counselor or something like that there. If you are involved in, I don't know, like a church community group or something of that nature, at times you can find like somebody, or maybe, somebody will know somebody who you can, go in, a professional you can go in and talk to. And, it's one of those things that like, if it's if money would be an issue, there's also a lot of resources out there available. If you just do like a quick search, online, there's resources out there in terms of community centers and whatnot. So definitely check that out, because the next thing I would say after that is to start learning how to use good relaxation strategies or good relaxation techniques. And so this could be anything from like deep breathing, guided imagery, progressive muscle relaxation. You can honestly throw yoga in there as well. Some people get a lot of benefit from exercising, running, all that jazz. I think there's enough research out there in terms of the benefits of what all of those do in terms of just kind of like overall anxiety and stress. Because, even moving on to the next point, which is making sure that you're eating well, sleeping well, and exercising well, in terms of making sure that you're eating healthy foods, make sure that you're getting exercise, whatever exercising is to you or what you do as a form of exercising, and then make sure that you're getting enough sleep. It's one of those things where like, I don't have to belabor those points, because I think there's enough research and enough things out there to really just kind of help solidify the point of the value of doing all those things well, and how it positively affects your overall, stress and anxiety level. The next point that I want to mention is just about overall preparing for the exam and making sure that you are preparing for the exam the right way. Because I think what ends up happening to some students is like you end up either not studying at all, or not studying the right way, or not using the right tool, that you end up like not being prepared to take the exam and you know you're not prepared for it. You can feel that you're not prepared for it. And so then that gets you into like this weird state or cycle. And so like I think making sure that you take a very kind of organized approach to preparing for the exam. So this would include making sure that you get a good NCLEX prep. I'll put a link in the descriptions below to one of the ones that I recommend. Making sure that you have a good kind of like time frame or a schedule in terms of, so I'm going to start studying for 2 weeks. I'm going to take the exam on this day. I'm going to try to arrive early. I think this is just kind of like in general, just like what you would call very just like good exam prep overall. Because the last point that I'm going to get to, which is about once you actually get to the exam, because you will eventually get to the exam. I know you're anxious, you're nervous, and everything else. You're going to eventually get to the exam. There's a chance that anxiety is going to follow you into the exam. And so you need to remember to focus and pace yourself during the exam. You need to take it one question at a time. Once you answer a question, you move on. You can't go back. And so your mentality needs to be in that fashion. Answer the question, go on. Once I answered this question and you hit submit, don't think about the last one. Don't think about, oh, I should have hit this. It doesn't matter. You've already hit submit. You can't go back. You just keep moving forward. And so that's kind of like getting yourself in the right mindset. And the last thing that I will mention is that you need to give yourself some grace. You need to give yourself some grace to be human. You need to give yourself some grace to make mistakes. Because you are human, and you are going to make mistakes. And theoretically, there is a chance that that you might not pass, and that is all part of being human. Failure is part of being human, but the thing is how you're going to, pick yourself up after that mistake, learn from it, and then keep moving forward, because it's a tough road. You are on a tough road. Becoming a nurse, this path to becoming a nurse is not easy. There's a reason why not everybody is becoming nurses. There's a reason why when you were in your pre-nursing class and after taking human anatomy, human physiology, you probably had a lot of people decide that, oh, wait, I don't want to be a nurse anymore. This is too stinking hard. And that difficulty that you are going to overcome is what then going to help you in the long run of making this a profession that it is a great profession, and a profession that, that you'll get paid well enough and you'll be able to make a huge difference in people's lives. And then you'll have the options to do so many different things in the future. So that is all I have for you for this video. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am going to, in these next videos that you'll see over here, I'm going to put links to some of my other NCLEX study prep videos or whatnot. So definitely check that out if you have any other questions, and I will catch you very soon in that next video.